UFC Fight Night Vegas 22, Brunson versus Holland takes place in a matter of hours tonight, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my last-minute detailed prediction and breakdown of every single fight on the card. I'm not going to be talking about former opponents and style matchups and resumes and who I think is going to win the fight in general. I'm going to try and call exactly how each fight on the card is going to go start to finish, and you'll find out what I mean in a second when I start with the early prelim opener of Bruno Silva versus JP Buys. I reckon Bruno Silva gets the job done, but how do I think that happens? I think JP Buys is going to go out there and have a really, really good first round. I think it's going to be a little bit scrappy on the feet early. Both guys landing some good shots. Both guys starting fast. JP Buys is going to take the back of Bruno Silva, in my opinion, in the first round. He loves taking the back in bouts. I think he'll do that against Bruno Silva. Take the back in the first round. Win the round because of taking the back at one moment. I think I could actually see it being a standing back take at one point. Bruno Silva's going to be against the cage, stood up. JP Buys is going to be on his back, looking for the back the entire time against the cage with his grappling, looking to get the back the entire time, and he's going to win the round based on getting back control, 10-9 in the first round. But all of that energy used to get the back with no finish at the end of it in the first round is going to lead to him slowing down as the fight goes on, and Bruno Silva will come back in the second and third and win himself a unanimous decision win, 29-28, by just out-voluming and outlanding JP Buys in the second and third round, managing his cardio a little bit better and having the pace in those later rounds to get the job done. 29-28 Bruno Silva. He wins the last two rounds against JP Buys. Moving on up the card, Montel Jackson versus Jesse Strader. I'm going to go with Montel Jackson. I think he gets the job done by straight right hand down the pipe KO punch. He landed it against Brett Johns. I think he'll land it here against Jesse Strada. I think he'll land that right hand down the pipe somewhat early at the end of the second round. I think I'm going to go with maybe the I don't think it's going to be the first round because Jackson takes a while to get going sometimes. So I think we're going to see Jesse Strada come in. He sort of struggled with the weight cut a little bit. I think it's going to be a good first round. Reasonably slow pace. Nothing too crazy, but a good technical first round. Both guys figuring each other out. Then in the second round, Jesse Strada's going to go for a big shot and a big combination to try and land something good on Montel Jackson. And I think Montel Jackson's going to land that shot down the pipe and finish Jesse Strada with a straight shot on the chin in the second round by TKO, follow up with ground and pound afterwards. Montel Jackson gets it done by TKO. Moving on up the card, Trevin Giles versus Roman Dolidze. I think this is going to be a very interesting bout in the middleweight division. First time we've seen Roman Dolidze down there, and I think he's going to do very well. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think Roman Dolidze is going to do enough to secure himself the first and second round. He does slow down. I think that will happen here, and Trevin Giles, who doesn't really throw everything into his shots early, you'll see that in this bout. I think Roman Dolidze is going to be going for head kicks, body kicks, leg kicks, big overhands, and although they're going to land and win him the first and second round of this bout, I think Trevin Giles is going to mount a little bit of a comeback in the third, and I think maybe Roman Dolidze is going to edge it out, but I could see this being a majority decision win for Roman Dolidze. I can see a judge giving it a draw because I think Trevin Giles is going to really batter him in that third round. I think he's going to slow down after the first two. Giles is going to get on him in the third, land some good shots, not quite finish him. I think Roman Dolidze is going to be shooting for takedowns, using the clinch, just trying to survive in that third round after gassing out as the fight goes on. Took it on short notice as well, by the way, so that's going to play a factor, I'm sure. Trevin Giles gets it in the third round, but Dolidze wins the first two, so I'm going to call a majority decision for Roman Dolidze, 29-28. One judge will give a 10-8 in the third round or something because they seem to be giving them out like fucking candy nowadays. Moving on, Leonardo Santos versus Grant Dawson. I've got money on this, and I'm going to say what it is. I think Grant Dawson's going to submit Leonardo Santos. I heard James Krause saying this, and I was thinking, yeah, I think Grant Dawson is going to submit him. And now that James Krause, Grant Dawson's coach, has said, hey, everyone put some money on Grant Dawson by submission, it kind of tells me they've got something to prove here. Leonardo Santos, wizard at BJJ, great fighter in the UFC. I feel like Grant Dawson's going to put a pace on him in the grappling, land some good shots on the feet early. I think Santos has got a good chance of landing a big punch on Dawson. Dawson has been shown to wobble now and again, so I think there may be a moment in this bout where Leonardo Santos does land a couple of big shots and Dawson looks to grapple a little bit more. I think Dawson will use the cage, get the takedown, sit in half guard for the majority of the bout, land good total strikes, land some good shots to the body in top control as well over Leonardo Santos. I think he's going to opt into the grappling against Leonardo Santos, which sounds crazy to say, but I really do believe in Grant Dawson. I think he's going to opt into the grappling, land some good shots to the body there. Leonardo Santos is going to get tired of being on the ground and carrying that weight and eating those little digs to the body, and I think come the third round, Grant Dawson is going to get the arm triangle submission over Leonardo Santos, and I think he actually will submit him here, and the odds are ridiculous. I think I put down £1 and I can get £10 back, so yeah, I bet £1. I ain't trying to lose my fucking money, you know what I'm saying? But still, Grant Dawson, submission in the third round, arm triangle, I'm calling it right now. Moving on up the card, Marion Reneau versus Macy Chiasson. It's going to be quite dull, but I do believe there'll be a finish. I think there'll be a finish in the second round. I think Macy Chiasson's going to go out there, land some good shots on the feet. Marion Reneau is going to push her against the cage, use the clinch there, just lean against the cage, use that Holly Holm game plan against Raquel Pennington, hold her against the cage, land some knees to the thigh, look for takedowns. I think Chiasson's going to be able to defend those takedowns. I think it's going to be a little bit of a stalemate in the first round. Come the second round, I think Chiasson's going to start kneeing to the body in the clinch, landing some good shots, and Marion Reneau's going to start to slow down because of all of that, and I think Macy Chiasson's going to get a TKO finish at the end of the second round. I think it will start with the knees and some body shots against the cage, then Reneau will start to come down a little bit, arms will start to drop, get a little bit more tired. I think Chiasson's going to land a great knee to the body. Renault's going to go down. Then Chiasson's going to follow up with some ground and pound shots. Chiasson gets his TKO in round 2. Moving on to the main card. Tuivasa versus Harry Hunsucker. I'm going to go with Tuivasa here by first round KO. I think he's going to go out there, land some good calf kicks early. He's got great calf kicks. I think after the first minute of this bout, Hunsucker's going to think to himself, right, I've eaten 3 calf kicks so far. I need to make something happen. Both guys are going to start swinging back and forth and landing good shots as well. I wouldn't even be surprised if Hunsucker actually manages to clip Tuivasa and land a good shot that has him a little bit stumbly. Who knows? But Tuivasa's got a great chin. I think he's going to be able to take the shots of Hunsucker. I think they're going to have a great exchange in the middle of the first round. But after that exchange, I think Hunsucker is going to be the one that's sort of used up the energy that he had, whereas Tuivasa is going to be a little bit more well-conditioned. I think he'll finish Harry Hunsucker with a big TKO finish at the end of the first round. Tuivasa gets it done. What shot will I call? I think it'll just be an overhand right from Tuivasa. I think he gets it done that way. Harry Hunsucker goes down at the end of the first round to TKO from Tuivasa. Moving on up the card, Kenan Song versus Max Griffin. I'm going with Max Griffin. I really am. I think he'll get the job done here. I think he'll put the pace on Kenan Song. Kenan Song's very good, likes to be technical. I think Max Griffin's not going to allow that to happen. He's going to make it a little bit messy. He's got the reach advantage while being a shorter guy. I think he'll use that to his advantage, close the distance, land some good shots at range as well, work the body quite well at range, and I think he'll just be a little bit too much in certain moments at the end of these rounds where he's starting to put the pressure on Kenan Song, utilize some of that wrestling after the first part of the first round. I think it's going to be a slow feeling out process where both guys are landing some good shots back and forth, but Max Griffin is going to put it on him at the second half of those rounds and start really putting the pace on Kenan Song and win it by a 30-27 unanimous decision win. I think he will secure the first round. I think he will get some takedowns, and I just think the moral of this fight will be that pressure won from Max Griffin over Kenan Song, smothering the guy who wants to be technical and just sort of putting it on him as the fight goes on. Max Griffin gets the job done, 30-27. Moving on up the card, Adrian Yanez versus Gustavo Lopez. I'm going to go with Mini Masvidal here. I think he'll get it done by first round TKO as well. I do smell a TKO coming. I think Gustavo Lopez is going to be willing to go out there and trade with him. I think that's going to be his downfall. He's been talking about it all week, talking about how he wants to go out there and really make Yanez regret all of this and all that. So I think Yanez is going to go out there, be real patient, maybe take a couple of shots early when Gustavo Lopez is going crazy looking for big punches, and I think eventually Yanez is going to find that shot at the end of the first round while Gustavo Lopez is looking to swing with big hooks. I think Yanez is going to be looking to plant and fire a calculated shot as a counter attack, and I think he will catch Gustavo Lopez coming in by first round TKO. I think he'll do it as he's moving backwards maybe. Gustavo Lopez is going to be coming forwards, swinging to the body, looking for big shots, and then maybe looking to close distance into the clinch afterwards. I'll call a counter uppercut from Adrian Yanez to a left hook. I think he'll land the uppercut and then come along with the left hook, and I think he'll finish Gustavo Lopez in the first round with that combination as Gustavo Lopez goes for the shots and then looks to pressure into the clinch afterwards and close that distance. I think Yanez will be winning with the uppercut there and get the job done by first round TKO. Moving on up the card, Cheyanne versus Montserrat Ruiz. I'm hoping for plenty of north-south. I'm hoping for plenty of triangle attempts. I'm hoping for a lot of things, okay? I feel like Cheyanne is going to win this one by unanimous decision, outlanding Montserrat Ruiz at range, landing the better shots as well, and just really putting the volume on her as the fight goes on. She's taller, she's rangier. I think she's going to use that to her advantage here. Montserrat Ruiz going to be looking to land some decent shots. I just don't think she's going to really land anything too clean. Look to maybe pressure Cheyanne against the cage a little bit, but I think Cheyanne is just going to win in those combination moments of volume, and that's really what's going to stick out on the judges' scorecards. It'll be a close fight, but Cheyanne will have moments where she's starting to put a little bit of volume on Montserrat Ruiz, and I think she'll get the job done by unanimous decision, 30-27 to Cheyanne outlanding Montserrat Ruiz every single round on the feet. Moving on up the card, Gregor Gillespie versus Brad Riddell. I think this is going to be I don't think this is going to be a great fight. I think Gregor Gillespie is going to really put on a performance here. A really good one. And I think he's going to go out there, feel it out on the feet a little bit, look for some good shots, see what Brad Riddell's looking to throw towards him, maybe throw a couple of feints, feint a level change, see if Brad Riddell's looking for that uppercut, who knows. I think Riddell should be looking for that uppercut early against Gregor Gillespie, a guy who he knows is going to shoot, or maybe a knee up the middle, who knows. But Gregor Gillespie, in my opinion, after 30 seconds into this bout, is going to push Brad Riddell up against the cage, go for the takedown, and just start taking him down over and over and over again. Now, do I think he's going to get mount and start pounding out Riddell early? I don't. Don't see that happening whatsoever. I think he's going to be holding Riddell against the cage. Maybe the referee's going to say, Gillespie, you got to be working here. I think there's going to be a lot of those moments where the referee wants to step in and say, hey, Gillespie, you need to get a little bit more active. I think he's going to have Riddell down against the cage just by putting some weight into his hip, dragging his legs down. Riddell's maybe going to be on one knee against the cage in that position where he's on one knee and Gillespie's got his waist, holding him down that way. And I think Gillespie's going to start kneeing up the fire, landing some good shots in the close range whenever Riddell starts to get his base under him and starts to stand up against the cage. Then Gillespie's going to take him back down again. I think it's going to be one of those up and down the cage type fights until in the second round when Riddell was a little bit more tired of defending the takedowns. I think Gillespie's going to turn him away from the cage after pressuring Brad Riddell to the cage. I think Gillespie's going to turn him away from that and start taking him down towards the center of the octagon. And I think once he does that, he'll start to pass over the guard of Brad Riddell, who's going to be a little bit more tired from defending all of the takedowns and carrying Gregor Gillespie's weight in the first round. And again, I'm going to go by submission with an arm triangle. I feel like I'm repeating myself with these arm triangle submissions, but I genuinely see it happening. Gregor Gillespie goes for arm triangles. That's his known move so far in terms of submissions in the UFC. It's a very bullyable move. You don't really need too many seminars to set up an arm triangle like you would do for a triangle, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go with Gregor Gillespie via arm triangle at the end of the second round once he's got Brad Riddell down in the center of the cage rather than against the cage as he would be doing in the first round. And I think Riddell's going to get submitted in the second round by arm triangle from Gregor Gillespie. Moving on to the main event, Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland. Now here's where we get interesting, okay? I'm worried. I smell a Brunson upset, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Kevin Holland's going to go out there and TKO him in the first round. Holland's going to go out there, land some good shots back and forth. I think Brunson maybe is going to shoot, but not really get a good hold of Kevin Holland. And I think Holland's going to get an underhook, maybe throw Brunson into the cage early to avoid that takedown. Brunson's not been really able to get takedowns in the first round of his bouts recently. So I think Kevin Holland's going to have a window of 5 minutes in that first round to make something happen on the feet. And I think he will make something happen on the feet in that first 5 minutes. And I think he'll land a good 1-2 on Derek Brunson, who's looking to circle out around away from Kevin Holland, who's throwing some crazy stuff, maybe a couple oblique kicks to the legs, maybe a side kick or something like that, just to get some distance between him and Derek Brunson. Brunson's going to realize he's against the cage, start to circle round. I think Holland's going to throw a 1-2, tag Derek Brunson at the end of his 2. That's going to rock Derek Brunson. I think Brunson's going to be scrambling forwards after being rocked by Kevin Holland to close the distance, get a hold of Kevin Holland against the cage. And I think once he closes that distance and gets that clinch and tries to get a hold of Kevin Holland, I think Holland's going to finish Derek Brunson the same way he did Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Elbow in real close, very close in the clinch, land the elbow over the top, then start going to the body and finish Derek Brunson by TKO at the end of the first round. Kevin Holland's going to get it done with an elbow first, as Derek Brunson tries to close the distance and get a hold of Kevin Holland after eating a straight right hand on the chin that he's not going to like too much. And I think Kevin Holland will get the job done by first round TKO. Those are my last minute early predictions. or late predictions, sorry, because we've only got a couple of hours to go. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. I swear I'm going to be correct this card. I don't care. I'm going to be correct. Trust me. Goodbye.